Hello everyone. This episode we're gonna be answering the number one question on everyone's mind. What is Zone? Zone Cafe is it's a collaboration between Starcom. You guys might know Starcom from the retail stores. They are one of the biggest distributors in East India. They distribute many manufacturers such as Corsair, Western Digital, and Xrig, as you all know. It's a gaming lounge coming up on Elgin Road. It's a 52-seater gaming lounge, premium, high-end, all 144Hz monitors, gaming keyboard, mice, high-end PCs, food and beverage, amazing ambience. We have a restaurant by Mintella within the cafe. We have air hockey, PlayStations. There's a retail for gaming. It is basically a heaven for gamers. It's the ultimate gaming cafe. I mean, gaming cafe does not do justice to what Zone is. We're gonna be publishing updates every day on the page and our page as we get closer to launch date, which is less than 10 days away from today. And I can't convey over camera what Zone is, but I can give you an idea. We have an esports arena within Zone, a 6v6 stage. We have RTX 2080 Ti PCs. We're the first cafe in India to feature RTX. So if you want to come check that out. We have mid-range, high-end and ultra-premium PCs. We have air hockey. We have foosball. There's going to be some board games. Amazing music. We have a streaming room. The list goes on. By the way, this is going to be the first Xrig flagship store at Zone, and we're going to have tournaments, we're going to have game launches, the latest hardware reveals, everything. I mean, we've put all our ideas together into the single place and we're calling it Zone Cafe. For those who are from Kolkata, it's just above the Max showroom on the Elgin Road crossing. And definitely do come by on opening. I believe we're gonna have an open invite for everybody. And stay tuned to the page basically. If you want to know what's happening, when are we coming up, what are the offers, everything, just tune into the Zone page. So yeah, that's Zone. In other news, a couple of things I want to go over. First is the current state of Intel and what's happening. As you all know, Intel processors have become ridiculously expensive recently. What is the reason? Intel is scaling up their 10 nanometer. So the 14 nanometer is, they have a supply crunch, which is why we are facing the prices. And more interestingly, this is a prediction, let's see if it's gonna come true. Within the next 45 days, we're gonna see Intel 9th generation processors. So this is all speculation and based on whatever news we've been able to gather. But there's gonna be an i9 in the normal socket. So what is Intel already has i9, as a lot of you might know, right? But this is on the X299 platform, right? These are, it starts with the 7900 i9 7900, which is I believe is 80,000 rupee chip. But the new i9 is gonna come in with the new 9th generation processors, which is an 8-core 16-thread, which will sit in the same socket as your current 8th gen processors, right? So like we have Z270, I believe we should have a Z290, which is going to be the new latest motherboard for consumers. There's going to be an i9 8-core 16-thread. Then there's going to be an i7 probably 9700K, which will be an 8-core 8-thread. So the current 8700K is an 6-core 12-thread. The new one is going to be an 8-core 8-thread. And then you're going to have the new 9th generation i5 and i3. They should be more or less the same with a slight clock speed increase. So they should still be a 6-core 6-thread i5 and a 4-core 4-thread i3. So those who are thinking about buying a new rig, my suggestion is, anyways the current Intel processors are very expensive. So don't go for it right now. Wait for i9 and the 9th generation to be announced. And I believe it should be something very competitive and increasing performance. Besides that, let's touch upon the current generation RTX graphics cards, right? So we have the RTX 2080 Ti and the RTX 2080. The RTX 2080 Ti is ridiculously expensive, but that's the cost if you want the latest and greatest tech. So it starts from around 1,10,000, and from the internal benchmarks that we've done ourselves, it's around 25 to 30% faster than the 2080, and the 2080 itself is the same or slightly more performance than a 1080 Ti. Now this leaves a lot of people in a dilemma. Do I buy a 1080 Ti, which is around 64,000, or do I buy a RTX 2080, which goes for around 85,000, right? Here's the deal. If you're playing current generation games which do not have RTX features enabled yet, you're gonna get more or less the same performance. But I still consider that you should think about it. The games that you're playing right now, and if you're just concerned about gaming performance today, go for the 1080 Ti. You're gonna get the same performance, more or less, for 15,000 rupees less, which is a considerable amount. But RTX comes with tensor cores, and it comes with the new RTX cores. What are the tensor cores and RTX cores? Well, tensor cores enable features such as DLSS. What is DLSS? So let's get into that. DLSS is, so everyone knows anti-aliasing, right? AA, you have MSAA, FXAA, TSAA. So anti-aliasing makes your image quality better. It reduces the jaggies or the edges and smooths everything out, makes everything look more refined, but it takes a big impact on FPS. When you enable AA in any game, you get anywhere between 10 to 20% drop in FPS. What DLSS does is, it gives you almost the same graphics as AA without a performance hit, or a performance hit of just 2 to 3%. So that's actually huge. If you're comparing a game with everything the same and AA on versus everything the same and DLSS on, you're gonna get the same image quality, or almost the same image quality, without that performance hit. So basically, for the same performance and the same graphics, you're getting 15% more FPS with DLSS. So it's actually an amazing tech, and I can't wait to see games take advantage of this. What's the disadvantage? It's not available yet. The biggest problem with the RTX cards and the technology they bring is it does not work out of the box. You cannot just play your favorite game and get DLSS. You need NVIDIA and the publisher to work together and enable DLSS in your game. So we'll give you a link where you can check out the current games supported. But there's a list of games coming up which will support DLSS. The problem is they don't support it today. As of today, 31st September, there's not a single game on the market which is supporting any of the RTX features, be it DLSS, be it RTX ray tracing. This is the disadvantage of this generation. The tech is there, we have proof of concept, but it cannot be used. So coming back to the argument, you buy an RTX 2080 for future proofing, so you can take advantage of the games, and there are games already announced and in the pipeline, be it Shadow of the Tomb Raider, be it Battlefield, BF5, right, etc. There's lots of games, so you can go through the list. So that's DLSS. What is RTX? I'm sure if you're interested, you already have a lot of sources, but I'm going to try and make it brief for people who don't know. Traditionally in games, so you see we have studio lighting here, and you can see the light bounce off my hand. You can see, well, this is what real life looks like, right? Life reflects off surfaces, leaves reflected light in some places, direct light in some places. We have shadows which are affected by it. Different surfaces reflect light differently. Now in games till today, this is simulated, okay? It doesn't actually, there's no real light simulation happening. So what a developer does is when they have a scene, they try to fake the light. And what it looks like is what the games you've seen till today look like. Pretty good, I would say. But it's not photorealistic. What RTX does is brings it from what you've seen till date 2 notches above. it is actually a considerable improvement in video quality. Now you've already seen ray tracing before. You've seen it in high quality blockbuster films like say an Avatar or a high-end Pixar movie. You've seen it in if you guys have ever seen a real estate walkthrough, architecture renderings and stuff, they have ray tracing, right? That's being brought to games. Now what's the big deal, or why wasn't it in games before? Because it's very processor intensive. What happens in ray tracing is, if there's a light source in the scene, real light is simulated to come out of the light source, hit everything in the room, in the scene, and reflect like real light looks like. Okay, the developers of the game don't need to simulate that or fake it. This is all done in software rendering. The problem is this is very processor intensive. Light ray can bounce thousands of times. So doing this in real time is not possible. These movies we see, or the architecture and real estate renderings, a 10-minute clip takes probably 2-3 days, a week maybe, depending on the settings, to render. And you see the end result. Games are not like that. Games are rendered as you see it. That's why we call it real-time rendering. What NVIDIA has done is they've invented RTX cores, which are not general purpose cores, not your CUDA cores as you know it, but cores which only do a specific job of simulating light. The problem with this? It needs developer support. The game needs to specifically, during development, integrate this feature, and the engine needs to support it. The developer needs to probably put in some API or some code, I don't know. But the point is, you cannot play your favorite game with an RTX card and get ray tracing. You need the game to support it. You need a patch to come through from the game which enables the feature. This is the biggest downside of this generation. And don't get me wrong, I applaud NVIDIA on the effort. They're trying to do something different besides just, okay, give you more FPS or give you more performance per dollar. They're trying to bring in new tech, actual innovation within the field. But the problem with new tech is teething issues, right? The ecosystem needs to support it. In this case, game developers. But NVIDIA is a big company, and they have strong ties with game developers. And I believe in 6 months time, 4 months time, we're gonna have a decent number of AAA titles supporting this. It's just something the consumer should keep in mind, that you're paying for the future. You're not paying something for something you can take advantage of today. That said, if you want the best and the greatest, 2080 Ti is a no-brainer. If your 1080 Ti is not good enough to drive your game at the FPS you want, 2080 Ti, highest performance hands down. The only dilemma is between 2080 and 1080 Ti. I would say if you can afford to spend that 10,000-15,000 more, go for it, because the 2080 over time should get faster than 1080 Ti, because the 1080 Ti is gonna not get so much optimization from today onwards, whereas the 2080 is a brand new card, a brand new architecture. It's gonna be better optimized in the future patches, and over time the 2080 will slightly increase the gap between the 1080. But when the RTX games hit the market, when your favorite game that you love to play starts supporting it, that's when you might feel bad that why did I get the 1080 Ti, why didn't I go for the 2080. That's about it. Wraps up the episode for today. Thank you for joining us, and follow us at zonecafe.in. We have an Instagram page and a Facebook page. So stay tuned for more updates there, and thank you for joining us. Take care.